Respected Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Honorable Minister for State Human Development, Mr. Sriram, General Manager, Canara Bank, SLBC Convener, Shri K.V. Shaji, Chairman, Kerala Gramin Bank, Shri Ravindran, MD, KCB, the dignitaries in the dais, and also the various bank representatives, NGOs, farmers clubs, branch managers, the press, and my dear colleagues. Today is a very important day in the history of NABARD because there are several issues which are confronting the NABARD's performance as of today. I take this opportunity to highlight some of the important issues confronting NABARD to Honorable Chief Guest because he is the member of the Parliament also. So it is a homecoming for him. I welcome you, sir, for this important function. It's your home function. We are very happy and we are very happy that he has agreed to be chief guest today. I welcome you with Mr. Shaji, I'll start from here. Mr. Shaji, Chairman, Kerala Gramin Bank. We all know that the North Kerala and Kerala Gramin banks have been amalgamated just 2 days ago, and he is the founder chairman of the Kerala Gramin Bank. He has kindly consented to attend this function and honor us. I welcome you, sir. Mr. Sriram has been our close friend, and in all our endeavors in the development, not only as a SLBC convener, but also as the General Manager of Canara Bank, he has been shoulder to shoulder helping us in every endeavor that we are trying to do. And I welcome you for this function, sir. And we also welcome the in charge of the MD, State Bank of Toronto, and SPT MD. It's almost 1 month now. It's yet to be appointed by Government of India. I welcome Sri Sanjeev Krishnan, in charge of Managing Director SBT for this function. I've been issuing various press releases about the commitment of NABARD in Kerala. Last year we have done about more than 5,000 crores. This year we are planning to support about 7,000 crores, of which about 2 to 5 crores will go as a grant assistance to various institutions. Roughly around 5 to 7% of the total assistance is given in the form of grants from out of the earnings. So you can imagine the stress on the grant making with the meager earnings that we are able to do. But at this junction, I would like to invite your attention, especially our Honorable Chief Guest, to some of the points which I would like to highlight about NABARD. Today, the average NABARDian is not happy, because there are various developments that has taken place since the formation of NABARD. I would like to highlight only few points where the government and the Reserve Bank are really have to take care of these things. The paid-up share capital of NABARD was 100 crores in 1982. In 1998, it reached 1,500 crores, and 99 it reached 2,000 crores. From 2,000 crores in 99, it took almost 13 years to reach the 3,000 crores. So NABARD has not only been now fees for various other services, but the capital is so low. And today it took about 13 years to move from 2,000 capital to 3,000 capital. NABARD also is earlier facilitated by the Government of India. Dr. Varun may recall, there are a lot of international aiding agencies which have been routing funds through NABARD, through Government of India. Now, government has stopped this intermediation function altogether and made NABARD to fend for themselves in the market. We no more have any concessional finance from the international agencies. Further, the government subsidy schemes are routed through NABARD almost free of cost, sir. We are bearing all the cost of this intermediation in terms of dispersing the subsidies, not only the financial cost of this, but also the moral cost, because if there is a delay in disbursement of subsidy by Government of India, entire blame comes on NABARD. It is for the purpose of everybody and especially the press. We should reach the people that it is the subsidy which is to come from government which is disbursed by NABARD and not NABARD's own money. Coming to the RBI, the GLC, the General Line of Credit, was extended in order to finance the crop loans in the beginning. It was about 300-400 crores and then it reached 6,600 crores in 1998. Then after that it was altogether stopped. It was told that the General Line of Credit is a printed money and therefore it causes inflation. And today we are talking about inflation is emanating from the supply side, not on the demand side. And after all, certain amount of inflation is required for the economy to move on. And especially it forms hardly about 0.2% of the M3, that is the money supply that goes into the hands of the farmers in order to produce. And it is very proven theoretically and also empirical evidence that farmers' production does not add to inflation, it is a dampening factor. It is not understandable, there are several studies, it is not understandable why a stand is taken that this small amount that has to go to the production sector is considered as inflationary. Similarly, when it comes to the facilitating the investment credit in agriculture, under section 54 RBI was bestowed a responsibility for improving agriculture, and therefore they have been contributing about 21% of their profit. Mind you, it is only the profit of RBI 21% which was contributed to GLC. That was about 180 crores in the beginning and it was 400 crores in 91-92 and thereafter it was stopped. It is very clear that if they had continued this 21% of the profit transferred to NABARD for the purpose of investment credit, it should have been in the order of 54,000 crores today. But unfortunately, with the limited resources available from NABARD, we are able to transfer and build up the capital only to the extent of 14,479 crores. On the other hand, we are shouting that there is no investment taking place in agriculture. In order to sustain 4% growth, investment has to be there. And where is the source of investment credit? If RBI has shut the door, if Government of India has shut the door, what NABARD can do? If we go to the financial market, we have to borrow at market terms. That also in the beginning, the NABARD was facilitated by giving a status of priority sector bonds or the infrastructure bonds or the capital gains concessions, etc. All these have been withdrawn now. Now we have to mobilize at the market terms and our market borrowings have gone from 14% to 76% as of today. With the market borrowing of 76%, sir, how we can look at that sympathetically with the sector of the rural development. Our capital adequacy has gone from 48% to 18% within a matter of 5 years. Please wait for 3 years, we will be one of the banks which will not be able to comply with the regulatory requirements if something is not done about it. I am sure that you are from the parliament and that's why I am raising all these things. You have a role not only for your constituency but also to enable the capacity of NABARD so that we are able to provide impeccable services to the nation. From our staff side, see, I would say that in order to cope with the situation, NABARD has also done a lot of internal changes which may not be so much desirable from the development point of view, but we are left with no option but cut down the cost on various other developmental areas. We have reduced the grants drastically. We have moved the staff from the grant making function to the business functions. So therefore, the entire developmental activity and the deliverance of service in the hands of NABARD is continuing to suffer. I would like to, sir, I will give you this note, sir. Kindly please do something to enhance the servicing capability of NABARD at this juncture. On the 32nd Foundation Day, I would request you on behalf of all my staff, on behalf of the rural community, that NABARD needs to be strengthened. Finally, coming to the other point of the Government of India, Government of India from 2001 onwards has called NABARD as a business entity and imposed tax, income tax, full income tax, not even concessional. It is a full income tax. The total tax collected between 2001 and 2012 is 5,003 crores we have paid as tax, and government has given only 1,000 rupees, 1,000 crore as capital. Plus all the add-on services like the subsidy disbursement free service and all the court cases we fight on behalf of the Government of India. Essentially, Government of India is actually taking large part of the services of NABARD, and it is the rural people who pay for that. Therefore, at this juncture, when I welcome all of you, I request your kind attention to the issues that is facing NABARD in the larger interest of the country. And finally, the market dependence on NABARD is crushing its ability to give grants. Every day I go to the field, people are asking for subsidized credit, 4%, 5%, 6%. I wish to give, and the sector deserves. The people deserve in the rural area to give such kind of a treatment. When in the foreign countries, these are all 30 to 40% agricultural subsidy, we cannot give at least 5-6% subsidy in our country. It will be very, very bad. So we have to find a way to see that the agricultural people, the rural people, especially the farmers, are able to get sufficient support from the government and through NABARD. And for this, I request our Honorable Chief Guest to do his best so that NABARD capacity building is improved. On top of it, finally, I would say that even the governance, sir, you are in charge of HRD. You know the importance of the governance today. Even the governance structure has taken a backseat. We have abolished the top layer in our organization. The executive directors, 5 executive directors were just totally abolished. It's very difficult for us to take timely decisions and move the institution forward in the absence of proper governance structure in our bank. So therefore, I request you to kindly, whatever that is possible for you, to bestow your attention through your own mechanism. Please help NABARD so that we can help millions of farmers. And finally, my own colleagues, sir, it's very difficult to see these days in the public place to see such a committed staff. I'm not boasting. Such a committed staff, very passionate with the rural development and for the cause of the rural people. And it's a very non-corruptive staff we have, very committed people we have. Every office, every regional office you can go. And I have told our district manager, we get in touch with you. If you go to the district managers, there is no time for them, there is no holiday for them, and everywhere they are working passionately for the development of the state and also for the development of the rural community. And therefore, at this date, I salute all my colleagues for their very sacrificing service to the nation. And on this day, we rededicate ourselves in the service of the nation. And on this occasion, I request all of you to join hands to pray God that we are able to provide better services in the rural areas. And once again, I welcome all of you, sir, for this August function, and as a mark of respect to not only light this room, but also the life of NABARD for the request you please come and kindly welcome.
NABARD, Chief General Manager of NABARD, Shri Sriram, General Manager Canara Bank, Shri Sajid Krishnan, MD in charge SPT, Shri K.R. Rao, Chief General Manager NABARD, Shri K.V. Shaji, Chairman of the Kerala Grameen Bank, officials from the state government, banks, representatives of community-based organizations, volunteers of farmers' clubs, present and former staff of NABARD, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Sahodri Sahodrimare, എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം. It's a pleasure to be with you here today to celebrate the 32nd Foundation Day of NABARD. The fact is that the development fraternity present here today has shown courage and persistence to demonstrate that progress and development don't happen automatically. Any accomplishment requires the coordinated efforts of many people, and knowing that agriculture is facing in many ways a crisis in our country, farmer suicides, all sorts of problems, and that rural development remains a major challenge, what you are doing is truly noble work. Your outreach in the remotest rural communities through your community-based interventions is exemplary. I want to say to you, Mr. Amanathan, that I've taken note of your concerns about the financial squeeze facing NABARD and the issue of increasing the general line of credit. No doubt more investments are required in the agricultural sector. But at the same time, as a minister, let me state on the record that during the years of the UPA government, rural purchasing power has gone on dramatically. Certainly amongst the contributory factors to this has been the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, which has put a significant amount of money into the hands of the poorest of the rural poor. And there seems to me to be very little doubt that after that, they have proceeded to spend that money in rural India. Yes, with some effect in inflation, prices have gone up, but in the process guaranteeing that the purchasing power of rural India is now becoming a factor in any macroeconomic analysis of our country. So I do want to say that it has not been entirely a tale of gloom, but I understand what you're saying, and I will do what I can to support an increase in your capacity and in your servicing capabilities. NABARD is really a unique institution. It has adequately demonstrated that there are possibilities of development even in the most challenging development ecosystem. And we've all heard Mr. Amanathan, we know what he's talking about. In the last 32 years, or 31 years I suppose, NABARD has continually innovated and reformed itself according to the various demands made upon it. And one of the key factors has clearly been the quality of its compassionate, dedicated, and I'm told largely non-corruptible staff that have made these transformations possible and which sustains the relevance of NABARD in the arena of rural development. Of course, We always say the future is never what it used to be. And as he pointed out, with 100 crores just 30 years ago, dramatic increase to 1,000, then very fast to 2,000, then very slow to 3,000. One always sees that the growth graph has been uneven, shall we say, in its pacing. But at the same time, we're living in an era in which banks and other institutions are increasingly interested in competitive conduct of business. They're anxious to deliver value to their customers, to get high profits, higher growth. And that's true of public sector banks as well, as I'm sure the public sector bankers here will testify. So in these circumstances, NABARD also has to wake up to the realities of the banking sector in our country today. NABARD will have to seek the support and cooperation of all of these more competitively minded banking institutions and players. There's the increasing cost of operations today, a dwindling flow of concessional funds. There is perhaps an erosion as well in the ability of institutions to direct or influence the flow of credit through refinance. That is not happening quite as much. It's happening perhaps in the housing sector, but not elsewhere. And of course, the changing priorities of state governments and central governments will always have an impact, and certainly it will complicate your efforts to drive the development agenda. Now, NABARD itself is an institution that is now marking its 32nd birthday. We must all recognize the complexities of knowledge management in a public sector organization like NABARD. And some would say it's perhaps the most diversified and complex of all the PSUs because of its work in the rural communities of India. Your human resources are your biggest asset, Mr. Amar. And therefore, it's very important that NABARD manages and nurses its human resources in a way that gets the most out of them. Think positive, strive hard for innovation, become tough, of course, in some ways, but at the same time build partnerships, and I'm sure you will go to great successes. Your attitude, of course, always contributes to your success. I said go tough. I was reminded of the old crack that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. It's something that we in politics keep telling ourselves, but the going is often tough for a lot of us at different times. But there are a few thoughts that I might share with you in front of this audience today. First is the need to design innovative schemes that governments, banks, rural clients will willingly adopt. And of course, such schemes definitely involve a certain amount of advocacy on your part, which certainly policy advocacy can make a very significant impact across the country. Now, in Kerala, I was able to successfully influence, I'm told, the mindset of staff here, influence the government, influence banks and people, and he managed to convince the government and members to support cooperatives in a big way. If that is an accomplishment of NABARD, my hat's off to it, because to my mind, the effectiveness of cooperatives is one of the strengths of the Kerala system. In fact, my office in Pulimuda has directly opposite to the cooperative bank, and every once in a while we use their parking lot. And they're also, apart from sitting on very valuable real estate, they're also providing a very useful service to their customers. Now, the self-belief of your staff, increasing innovation, and of course effective communication is very important if you're going to be delivering the mass-based schemes that you are famous for. Second point, maybe it's obvious to all of you that NABARD should focus on managing its networks, building networks. No more can any agency, including NABARD, claim to be the single source of wisdom or expertise or even universal acceptability. To reach every household, NABARD will have to collaborate extensively with several other agencies. No one is small in development, and a more inclusive policy will be absolutely essential because you need to nurture your partners and care with them and respect them. Third, and this is perhaps obvious, is that NABARD should reach out to the rural people, the community leaders, and their public representatives. You are doing well, but you should be seen to be doing well by the policymakers, the lawmakers, the political representatives of this country. This is in addition to what I said earlier about networking with NGOs and banks. That's an art you should master. But talking to the representatives of the people, bringing them along in your work and in the kinds of things you're seeking to accomplish will, I think, be increasingly necessary, particularly in Kerala, with its very strongly entrenched democratic tradition. Working with community leaders and political representatives is going to be an important aspect of your success. Fourth, you have to be a learning organization. That is that in the era of market-oriented development, there's a lot that NABARD can still learn about how things are going. I remember when we had our conversation a few days ago, the point came across that NABARD is neither development nor business, but it's in the business of development. Managing the business of development requires many multi-dimensional knowledge, skills. Therefore, for the long-term survival of NABARD, the staff has to be prepared to learn and relearn and unlearn. That is the way in which we proceed in the 21st century. My own ministry, where we focus on education, I openly say now that learning, unlearning and relearning will be the hallmark of the educated person in the 21st century. So in these circumstances, it becomes very important that staff should be encouraged to add value to themselves and their own career prospects. We need to get beyond the typical public sector mentality, change a mindset, make them function in the competitive environment that the 21st century is offering us. If you do that, your staff and you will create the opportunities to claim leadership over the rest of the development community, because you have the big bucks, you have the institutional backing, if you have the right attitude and the right mindset, you can actually lead the development community. That means you must be prepared to learn. Fifth, of course, is organizational transformation. I don't know enough about your organizational structure. I've read the brochures you left me. We all know that any organization changes are dynamic and challenging, but at the same time, it's extremely important for every organization to be prepared to re-engineer its work processes. Yes, this will sometimes cause discomfort to people who are used to the old ways of doing things. But if you want your organization to grow, if you want to grow beyond the 3,000 crores and become a big player, you also need to be able to re-engineer your organization. If you refuse change, if you resist change, you will not grow. It's as simple as that. That's true of political parties, it's true of universities, and it's true of NABARD and banks as well. So one needs to accept and follow the leadership, the staff. I'm saying this to the staff in particular. Trust the leadership to innovate in a constructive way. And the staff themselves are prepared to change. If the staff themselves are prepared to change, the organization will change as well. It's through the changes in individuals that the organizations change. But resistance to change is a guarantee that the organization will be stuck in a rut, will atrophy. So don't resist change, embrace change and use it to move forward. Finally, let me say that NABARD has every reason to celebrate today. You should celebrate your victories, small or big, individual level, organization level, and of course, today you would have had, I think, the Chief Minister, he suddenly had to go to Delhi. You would have had the Cooperative Minister, he suddenly went off to his constituency because Assembly is no longer in session, and you got only stuck with a non-expert like me. But still, I want to tell you that what you're doing here is good work, it's important for Kerala, and that your successes should be shared. Share a cup of tea or more with the colleagues and partners, because every success is going to be a collective effort. That your efforts at all levels of NABARD, at all levels of other banks, at all levels with community-based organizations must be done in a way that recognizes their own contributions to your success. To succeed is ultimately about an attitude of mind. It is that we all have a mindset, but there are many, I'm afraid, in public sector jobs who say that now that we've got the job, we can relax, we can amble into work, relax at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, have a good lunch break, leave at 5, push a few files here and there, we can't be fired, we don't need to do anything. And indeed, I even had somebody tell me as a virtue that you can't be punished for not doing something. You can only be punished if you do something wrong. So best thing is don't do anything at all, then you won't be punished. Now that sort of attitude is there in many public sector institutions. If you want to succeed, you must ruthlessly shed that attitude. You must actually weed out the elements in your establishment who have such an attitude and replace them with people, encourage people, promote people who are prepared to have a mindset that will succeed. Just doing the same thing over and over again can sometimes be disastrous. Einstein said, I think, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. But if you do the right thing repeatedly, then you will always get the right result, which is the result of success. I don't know how many of you are cricket fans, but I am a huge cricket nut. And what excited me about the Champions Trophy and the matches leading up to it is that India won 7 matches in a row. Now in my lifetime, I'm 57 years old, I've been following cricket seriously since I was 7. In 50 years, I've never seen India winning 7 matches in a row of anything. That habit of winning is what we don't seem to have as a nation, as a people. And if we can get into that habit, then success will become the case. In fact, when we went after that tournament to the West Indies, and we lost the first match, I said, oh my gosh, how sad. Looks like we're not going to be able to do it. Then we lost the second match. And I said, oh, they've completely lost the habit of winning. Once they won 7, they're completely complacent, they're not going to win. But to my relief, they bounced back and they won the next 3 matches in a row, and they've just won the final yesterday. So you can acquire the habit of winning. The great sporting teams have it. Australia, West Indies, Australia in the 90s, West Indies in the 70s, they won every match. And when they went onto the cricket field, they went expecting to win. That pursuit of success, that motivation for success must be there. If you go with that motivation, then I'm sure that not just at 32nd Foundation Day, but by the time of 50th Foundation Day, you will be a household word in this country. So let me celebrate the successful services and most useful services of NABARD to the development of the nation. I'm glad that you invited so many of your partners in development to the celebration. I'm also glad to join you all, and I will extend, as I said earlier, whatever support I can to the future growth, development, and capacity building of NABARD. Let me wish everyone in NABARD all successes in the next 32 years. On behalf, since there's no other minister of either the state government or the central government here, let me, on behalf of the governments, both in Trivandrum and in Delhi, wish NABARD all success on behalf of all the people of Kerala. Thank you very much. Nandi, Namaskar, and Jai.